Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our interview with Fausto Lendeborg. Fausto is the co-founder and CCO at Secberus, and also a CSA Advisory member and CXO Trust Council. And Secberus is the cloud governance platform that provides an adaptable, risk-driven approach to enterprise cloud security, governance, and compliance. Fausto, thank you for coming to our interview today.
Thank you, Boris, for inviting me. A pleasure.
Absolutely. Fausto, could you tell us a short story about your career path? What brought you to where you are right now and what you guys at Secberus are up to these days?
Yeah, I have a really interesting story, very typical. Started love computers since an early age, high school, middle school, elementary school. My parents are computer science background and started in cybersecurity at the age of 19, about good 15 years ago, a 15-year career. And when I started in the industry, I was doing traffic analysis in real time and combating and fighting DDoS attacks worldwide. I mean, we're talking about 50, 60,000 cyber attacks. And throughout my career, just continued to understand the landscape of the attacker, the landscape of securing an enterprise. And in 2017, I was VP of security and co-founder of a startup in LA, and I had a challenge of cloud security at scale. And what I mean by that is, how can I continue to build cloud infrastructure and cloud native applications and maintain a secure posture? So when you think about secure posture, you have to think about some of the risks that the agility and speed of cloud brings. And one of the largest risks is misconfiguration. The misconfiguration of a database, the misconfiguration of a firewall, the misconfiguration of an API. And it's so easy to combat if you have a small infrastructure, but when you start scaling and you have 10, 20, 30 engineers making changes, the attack surface and the prone for error increases. So I decided to launch Secberus. And Secberus' main aim is in a twofold environment, which is, one, how can we detect misconfiguration in real time across any technology stack? But the second problem we solve is, how can we make sure that the management of that risk that we detect is well managed and can be routed to the right owner, right? So think about the operational challenges that legacy security solutions have. So we build technology at the core that makes the security adaptable, but also makes the operational challenge enabled to enterprise to run. So, that's our focus to the enterprise, to the MSSP, and that's where we are today, serving some of the largest telcos in the world, serving some of the largest pharmaceuticals in the world, and really solving that cloud and compliance security posture in the market.
All right, fantastic. So it's kind of was a great path for you with such a young age to go from young kid reading your father's kind of a book and then up to the CEO in just 15 years or so. Wow, it's kind of father's dreams comes through, right?
Yes.
All right. So I believe that we will have a thoughtful conversation on the topic on how to increase enterprise cloud security maturity, and maybe some actionable tips on preventing businesses from cyber attacks, keeping their employees safe, and providing device security. So, Fausto, can you please explain us, because there are some, of course, different companies and organizations on different stages of the security maturity level. Could you explain us in layman terms what you see in your world and how different companies are on the different maturity level and what they have to do to advance a little bit?
Yeah, so if you think about the cloud security maturity model framework, right? There's 5 levels of maturity. Starting at level 0, which is the starting point of a lot of companies, which is everything is manual. Configuration is manual, verification is manual. Everything is manual, and that is extremely expensive on the resource side, right? And of course, security would take the biggest damage. Now, if you think about the legacy world that we used to live before cloud, manual security processes were not a burden to building an infrastructure, meaning the security by design process. Let's meet with security before we build a server, before we deploy it in the data center, right? And that part of change management process was okay. But when you start moving to the cloud, automation is key, so you can take your applications to your market within the industry very, very fast, right? So that velocity removes the manual work. So automation. But when it comes to cloud security, we got to do the same thing, right? Which is, how do we move from a manual work all the way to level 5, where it's everything automated, right? So really, that's kind of the goal of every enterprise, level 1 to level 5. Now, level 0. So when you break down every level of the model is broken down in 3 sections, right? The foundational domain, the operational domain, and the security domain, right? Which is, how do you build a information security program to increase your security maturity, right? So let's break down a little bit of the domains, right? The first domain is, you need to cover every single piece of technology that your enterprises use, right? That's really the key, right? So let's dig deeper down, right? Let's say you have a Kubernetes cluster team that's running an application in Kubernetes, but all of a sudden you bring a team that wants to build an application in using serverless functions from AWS, right? Completely different technology stack. But then you bring another team that wants to run an application within a VMware environment because that's the expertise of that engineer, right? So when you start looking at where we are today, the technology stack that enterprises have, they vary because of the skill set that the engineer they have in the company, right? So the main foundation of increasing your cloud security maturity level is to make sure that you can cover all of the technology stack that your engineers are using to build applications. Because it's not smart, or is going to be counterproductive to protect 80%, 90% of the infrastructure, but have workloads or servers that are not covered under the security umbrella, right? So what are some of the challenges that brings to enterprises? What that brings to the enterprises is that when an enterprise goes out and tries to select a solution to solve the problem, they now need to verify that the solution that they're looking at can cover all of the technology and security domains that they have. And that's challenge number 1, right? Because you need to have security for everything, cover all domains. So to answer the first question, and this is where I wanted to get, a lot of the companies are not covering all of the domains, right? So we're not seeing companies at the further right, which is level 5, in the foundational structure of the model. We haven't seen them complete and assess everything that they run, right? So we're seeing companies in between level 2, level 3, right in the middle, right? And right in the middle is, we cover most or some of the technology stack. We do some automation and some manual. There's a lot of stuff that generate false positives. our processes are not built the right way, or our processes are very manual. So there's a combination of everything, right? So we're seeing more companies moving from everything manual to some automation, but we still not in the time or in the industry where all the companies have everything automated. And that's the utopia world that we want to take companies with the right technology, the right approach, and the right mentality.
Yeah, I would say also that not every company can and is available, kind of has a budget to automate everything, and maybe there is some kind of analysis of what is need to be automated and what may need to be by manual or left by manual. I don't know how is it. How to decide what kind of win analysis, how to decide what kind of technology should be automated first, and then leave something to the rest, to the later stage.
Yeah, I think there's a few factors to consider, right? The first one is, do you have the right technology to detect the problem, right? To detect the risk from a security and compliance perspective.
Yeah, so first risk approach, right? So most risky technology or something like this.
Correct. Then do you have the right technology to federate the risk to the right ownership? Because some of the biggest challenges companies have, and this is traditional security, is that the enterprises are dealing with a big amount of false positives, which leads them to alert fatigue, right? Investigation time is very, very long. So it's how do you reduce the investigation time? And the second big piece on the cloud security maturity is federation. It's all about federation access, federation of risk management, because with one identity, you're able to understand who owns it, who introduced the risk, and who's supposed to remediate the risk, right? So that's the second piece of truly increasing your model. Now, once you have the right company, the right technology to detect the risk, you have a risk-based approach. And then you have the right technology to federate the risk to the right owner. Now you can start enabling automation. And I tell you why. Because who would know better than to automate a risk remediation a violation than the risk owner, right? So think about how we make that connection between understanding the risk at the top of the business, but remediating at the bottom, right? So it's the gap. And the gap gets closed with automation. Right? So that is what we need to understand. It's not detect the risk and automate the risk. No, it's detect the risk, assign the risk, and then automate the risk. So it's that middle piece that a lot of enterprises are missing.
All right, fantastic. I would like to ask you a personal point of view. What is the commonly held belief or misconception in the cloud security space that you are kind of strongly disagree with?
The biggest misconception is that the cloud providers are responsible for your security. It's one of the big misconceptions the customers, the enterprise market believes in. Completely disagree with that. Just because, you know, their share responsibility model is built even more extended than what we know in the market, right? It comes down to the person building the application. But there's a bigger misconception than that, Boris. And the biggest misconception is your engineers, DevOps, are supposed to be security-minded individuals. They're supposed to be DevSecOps. It's the big fallacy in the world. I completely disagree with that, because we as an enterprise, as a business, as a leadership, are not supposed to rely on infrastructure, cloud, application engineers to define the security strategy of the enterprise, right? It's about giving the tools, they know what to do. And I believe that it's the biggest misconception is because we have to shift the mindset from thinking that engineers have to be security minded and understand that the business is the one that needs to build a security program that can help these engineers with the right guardrails in place.
Okay. So can you tell us, can you explain us what exactly Secberus offers to the industry and how you differ from other cloud security companies?
So our main biggest differentiators in the market is we built with a core technology that's called policy as code. And policy as code provides the ability in our software to be able to customize the business requirement or the control assessment that has to be in place. With policy as code allows us to really ingest any metadata configuration. Think about infrastructure as a service, the cloud, platform as a service, software as a service. And with that data being ingested into our system, policy as code, which has the business requirement intent codified into code using Rego, allows us to truly tailor the requirement to the control, eliminating false positives for the customer. And that allows us to cover all of the technology stack domains. So think about a company that comes in and have Alibaba Cloud, Oracle Cloud, IBM, AWS, GCP, Azure, VMware. And you have this layer of data where they build applications and infrastructure, but you need something that is data agnostic that serves as a wrapper for the data set. And policy as code can do that, right? So at the core, Secvirus created technology that allows us to build any business requirement, any control, any policy, any compliance regulation across any data set that the customer has. And that's one of the biggest things. The second big differentiator is that with policy as code, we have developed something called attribute-based access control, which is a way of understanding the engineer access level by filtering based on data attributes, meaning application name, cloud name, metadata name, and filter down the risk so we can deliver a risk dashboard to every engineer based on the risk that they own. That allows us to go to an enterprise that has thousands of engineers and say, we can define the risk policy at the top, at the business level, but we can split this risk pie into as many pieces as you need it. So we can all work on risk management. And that is the adaptability of our approach.
Wow, this is kind of great tool. It sounds for me. So where do you think the cloud security as a whole is heading? What are the trends in the industry, and what should we expect from you guys in the future?
The trends are continue to be more cloud environments, more cloud native applications going into the cloud, but we're starting to see movement from legacy server instance to more container serverless functions to run applications. Now, I think that what enterprises need to understand is what is my cloud security technology stack that I need to solve this problem, right? And it's not about the letters of the industry. It's about what risks am I trying to remediate and what technology do I need to remediate the risk, right? So what we're going to see is that tools in the market need to progress from tooling to platforms, and platforms in the sense of completely integrated approach to the technology stack, to the integrations, to the system, to the processes. And that is going to allow enterprises to continue to automate more things. So what we can expect from Secvirus as we speak to customers every day is to continue to build technology that can enable enterprises to automate more things and detect more risk, right? So think about if we can build a platform that can federate the risk across thousands of people, we now have to build more detection technology to federate the same risk. So it's about continue to solve the operational problem. So we're going to continue to work up the stack to Kubernetes security, access data security, data classification, and really all the level stack that we need to continue to remediate risk and manage risk for the enterprise.
Fantastic. So if we dive a little bit deeper, could you tell us in practice what's something you or your team have recently achieved that you are really proud of?
I think one of our biggest accomplishments is we've onboarded one of the largest telcos in Japan. They came to us with over 15 business units, over 150 cloud environments. And in the process of just a few weeks, we were able to implement our entire solution end to end, both from building the right policies, enabling the right policies out of the box, and creating the level automation that the customer needs, and taking a company from level 0 in the cloud security maturity all the way to almost level 5, everything automated, right? So it's really that journey of taking the customer, really going back to the original question, something that we were able to accomplish with our platform.
Wow. So if we summarize it, if someone who is listening to this interview, or maybe is on this maturity 0 or 1, would like to walk away with 1 or 2 major takeaways, what would that be?
The first thing is, if you're multi-cloud environment and multiple compliance regulations across the application, you need to start evaluating solutions that can be data agnostic. Right? Policy as code is one of the most data agnostic technology. Definitely a big takeaway. The second thing is start understanding and thinking that this cloud security challenge can only be solved if you solve the operational problem. Who gets the risk at the right time, and you can track that all the way down to the risk owner. So it's about thinking the security technology to assess and the platforms that can solve the operational problem in order to solve the security problem.
Fantastic. So I ask this this question all my guests. So as a global risk community CEO leader, I would like to ask you your opinion. How can we contribute to better understanding this complex world of risk?
So I think from a community perspective,
it's
all about truly spending time looking at innovative startup technologies, right? I think that's where it starts. If you think about the most cutting edge technology and really pushing the boundaries and no pun intended, but taking risks on new companies, right? I think that's one of the biggest ways of contributing, right? Why do we have to go to some of those big legacy enterprise companies? We're not taking innovative risks. And I think that's one of the things that the industry is missing. We got to be able to understand the companies, understand raw technology, and give opportunities to those companies that are coming out, because they might have the solution to our problem.
Fantastic. So that's why all my questions. Perhaps if you have something to add, you can go ahead. Otherwise, I'm very satisfied with your interview.
No, everything has been amazing. Thank you, Boris, so much for inviting me, and I had a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe next time in a few months we can come together and do an interview about another topic if you want.
Yes, I would love to. I would definitely love to.
Thank you. Thank you, and I wish you and your company great success and growth.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Boris. Thank you so much.
Thank you.